It has been about a week since I finished the critically acclaimed series, Arcane. And after careful thought and recollecting all the wonderfully animated scenes and climaxes of its writing, I wanted to talk about one particular portion of the writing that stood out to me, in the form of Viktor. Fair warning, there will be spoilers ahead. When we are first introduced to Viktor, we see what seems to be a side character known as the Professor's Assistant, a man who is overshadowed by the greats of Heimerdinger's creations and accomplishments. A man whose first seconds of screen time begins with criticizing Jace in the aftermath of the exploding magic stone, on orders from a superior. Nothing the man presents is unique or even memorable until his witness appearance of the council trial determining the continuation or halt of Jace's hex tech research, where sparks of interest begins to fill his eyes during Jace's speech, to the point where now in secret and against the council's orders, he helps complete his, or now their, first breakthrough in hex tech technology. And just how the magic and discovery fills the room in Viktor's eyes, our eyes begin to become fascinated with Viktor. Viktor becomes charismatic as we witness his and Jace's progress in research. Every creation is full of love, innovation, and full of character, perfectly represented by the art style of Arcane. And as we learn later in the show about his steps towards new technologies and his success and crave for it, become even more admirable after we witness where he came from. Viktor was crippled as a child. He lacked friends, a family, and the initial support to pursue higher education. But what he had was intellect. And when he found the first scientist who encouraged his desire to create and improve lives, he climbed the social ladder doing nothing but believing in himself.
I simply believed in myself.
Who doesn't love this story of bringing oneself out of the mud? But as the show continues, and Viktor's contrast with Jace exemplifies, is when we truly begin to favorite Viktor. While Jace gains more and more power joining the council, Viktor continues to harbor his long and dedicated work in the frustrating shadows. Nothing is more important to him than improving his creations to improve the lives of everyone else. Jace begins to stray from his initial ideas from Mel's influence, while Viktor stays true and innovates more and more fascinating technology until he and Jace create the Hex Core. And he does all of this, all while being sick and dying from an incurable disease. His dedication, want for good, and dialect create this wonderful character that seems incapable of doing anything wrong, until he does. After his diagnosis, Heimerdinger pushes towards delaying the release of their research. His nature changes mentally, and then of course physically, after acquiring Flicker from Singed. He's already battled with Jace to make sure that their technologies don't hurt people or turn into weapons, and in his human obsession to cure himself, using the power of the Hex Core and Flicker, he accidentally and indirectly kills his assistant, the only other one who we felt care for him. Viktor's tragedy, his relentless strive, his faults and successes, and overall development is just a beautiful piece of work and writing. Jinx is portrayed as a monster who was unintentionally created, but in the parallel story of Jace and Viktor, Viktor becomes somewhat of a monster himself, one of relentless pursuit. But in his monstrosity, he gains something he always dreamed of, the ability to walk and run without assistance. This is the true climax of his character. As he gains something he had always wanted, he loses something he swore to stay true to. And all of this happens in the background in a show about the two sisters, Vi and Jinx. Within his limited screen time, so much was accomplished, and Viktor became such an interesting and admirable character with the faults of his own dreams. But what excites me the most is what is yet to come. I cannot wait to see what they do with Viktor's character, and based on the source material, how he turns into the machine Herald. What happens after Jinx's rocket hits the council meeting, and how much more power will Viktor seek from the Hex Core? Guess we can only find out in the next season, so until then, Viktor will remain my favorite character.